Thank you, and welcome to all of you. We're so happy to be here today to join in this conversation on a topic that's really important to the three of us, which is education equity and how we can overcome barriers that impede the ability for us to deliver a quality, equitable education for all. So I'm Holly Copeland. I oversee corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and impact for Horizon Therapeutics. We're a global biotechnology company focused on treating rare and rheumatic diseases and believe that science and compassion can collide. And when those two elements collide, you can change people's lives. And so we take our commitment very seriously to supporting our communities where they exist at home as well as out in the community at large. And one of our long-standing community partnerships is Prospectus Math and Science Academy. TyNeisha Banks is the principal at Prospectus Math and Science Academy, which is a school on the south side of Chicago, located in the historic Bronzeville neighborhood, grades 7 through 12. And we've now been engaging with them for, I think it's been like 6 years, and the partnership runs deep, and we're excited to talk about a specific element of that partnership today. And then I also have Adrianna Emery, who is an MSA alum and an existing Howard University student. She just finished her freshman year at Howard. Yes. Thank you. And also happens to be a Horizon Scholar, which is the program that we'd like to discuss today. So to get things started, I thought we could start with you, TyNeisha, in thinking about like what does success look like and the milestones of success in getting kids off into their career path, right? So like one of those first success milestones is like completing the high school diploma. Mm-hmm. A secondary milestone will be accepted into college and getting to college. Mm-hmm. But then when it comes to the students actually completing a degree, there are barriers that exist for your students in particular. So could you talk a bit about like what are those barriers impeding equity in education?
Certainly. So there are a number of them, and we could go on for hours, and we have gone on for hours. But for the sake of time, I want to focus on just like the imposter syndrome and how that impacts success. So it's this idea of like, can I do it? Like, am I worthy enough to be in this space? Do I have what it takes? And that's something that a lot of students experience. But I think the really important thing to note is that it's rooted in a sense of just like harsh truth, truth that is really exemplified by a lot of the inequity issues that impact students in schools and under-resourced communities. And really thinking about a lack of access to an opportunity to grade level appropriate content in a lot of instances, and a lack of access to just again like opportunities for rich, rigorous, experiential learning opportunities. And so I think that's a big piece of it. And then from there, we also see the gap between acceptance into college and then just students who actually make it on campus, and then that's again where we see some of that self-doubt start to kick in. And I have a personal story of that experience. I graduated from a selective enrollment high school on the south side of Chicago. I was a top student in my class, mostly A's. I ended up at a Big Ten university. And I remember when I was there, I took a chemistry class, and in my discussion section, I go there the first day and I have no idea what's going on. And so I muster up the courage to just like ask my neighbor, like, hey, do you know what you're doing? And she's like, yep, and finishes her notes. And so then I like go back in. I'm like, so where'd you learn this? And she's like, high school. This time she's kind of annoyed, like I'm stopping her. I'm like, okay. And so in that moment, I realized like, wow, I didn't. And so that was a shock to me because I had always prided myself on being a really strong student. And so I started as a pharmacy major at my university. Clearly, I did not finish one. And I think about that now, just like, why is that even something that is reasonable for any student to ever have to experience, to have to give up a dream and then have to pivot just because again, I had been, thank you, I felt like I had been misled for years, right? And so that's like a big part of it. And that's some of the work that, thanks to our partners at Horizon, we're working at the Math and Science Academy to try to undo. Through our MSA Cares initiative, we offer STEM career certifications to our students, just free to them, of course, because Horizon has picked up the tab. But again, to bridge that opportunity and access gap so that hopefully they can get some of that prerequisite experience needed so that they can be successful in their post-secondary endeavors.
Thank you, TyNeisha. And Adrianna, what about you? Did some of that story or TyNeisha's experience resonate with you? Like, do you feel like there are certain barriers in place that you've seen kind of interfere with yourself or colleagues in school's ability to get through school?
So, as a Horizon Scholar, I do feel as if the financial debt is one of the biggest issues, and it was one of my biggest issues, considering the fact that I also declined my acceptance into Howard because they did not offer me enough scholarships. So Horizon was, generous enough to provide me with the opportunity to still attend Howard. And as far as her story, I can definitely relate to that. I am a health science major, but I started off as a nursing major. And when I got there, my first semester, I learned so much information that I had no idea about, and I feel like they don't tell you certain stuff when you're applying to college. I applied as a nursing major, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm a nursing major, I'm going to go in, and after I take my prereqs, I'm going to take my nursing courses, and that just was not the case. They don't tell you that you have to prepare to take a TEAS exam, you have to have a certain GPA, you have to interview, you have to do all of these things. So the nursing major isn't your actual major. They just loaning that major to you until you get into the program. And if you don't get into the program, you have to, change your major, and that's probably a setback to you. And I feel as if that makes it difficult for people to fulfill their dreams, because maybe, I wanted to be a nurse, but I don't think that I'm capable of getting into the program, so now I have to change my major to something different. So I did change my major to health science, but the goal is to still, in some way go to nursing school and still fulfill my dreams.
For sure. And I think, what's interesting about this is in the process of creating this Horizon Scholars program that we have. It's actually a global program. We partner with 4 HBCUs, 9 academic institutions globally, and we have 40 scholars, so 39 peers to Adrianna studying all around the world. And the intention was to create some structures that address these issues of inequity that come up, right? So in hearing Adrianna's comments, having a mentor, someone who has work experience in a STEM field, who's gone that path, has had that journey, can provide guidance and insights to Adrianna. So she's not kind of like on her own trying to figure this out. I don't know how many in the room have 18-year-olds. I have a 19-year-old myself, and you can barely get them to do their chores around the house, let alone figure out this complicated academic journey and all the requirements that might be needed to complete the process. So our Horizon Scholars program, it does that. It focuses on the debt burden that students have, right? So after financial aid, what's that debt burden that remains, and how can we address that as a funder to alleviate that burden off of the student, and then supplement with other pieces or elements that can truly be supported for the students as they go through their academic journey. So with that, TyNeisha, could you share a bit about, from your vantage point as a principal at a school and knowing what the students' needs are, what are some elements of what you've seen with our program or others that perhaps others in the room that might have a scholarship program at their company could think about incorporating to help increase the likelihood of success of the students?
Certainly. So our partnership with Horizon is honestly just life-changing. It is like the ultimate cheat code. When I think about Horizon, if you've ever played with Legos, back in the day, at least when I was growing up, Legos are these pieces that you created square and rectangular shapes, and they were just very vertical or horizontal. But then my kids' Legos feature connector pieces, and so these connector pieces allow you to have so many opportunities to build just these magnificent structures. And so I think of Horizon as our ultimate connector piece. They really just focus on connecting our students with just as many opportunities to have these rich academic experiences and also opportunities to elevate our voices even like this. And so with respect to the Horizon Scholars Program, it's comprehensive. So even taking a step back before senior year where they can apply to be Horizon Scholars, Horizon puts on a monthly speaker series where they bring in a STEM speaker who comes and just provides that early career access and exposure, because again, you don't know what you can do until you know what's out there for you to do. And so then in thinking about just the Scholars Program, in senior year, it's comprehensive, so it really eases the financial burden. When the scholars are away, they're paired with a mentor who offers just like career insight and advice. They meet regularly, and then even after that, there are career opportunities with Horizon, so it's really comprehensive. It provides wraparound services, and it really thinks through just a lot of the nuanced thoughts that are important to just think about, not only college acceptance, but retention, and then post-collegiate experience, like how are you prepared for the work world?
Thank you. Yes. And Adrianna, what do you think, like if we were to share with those in the room that are interested in scholarships and education equity, like what is the biggest barrier, the biggest couple of barriers in your opinion for students to be able to complete their degree? You know, you mentioned debt earlier, and like the influence that that can have on a decision on where you're going to go. Can you speak a bit about that?
So, student debt is one of the biggest issues when people are planning for their future, because in a way, some decide, oh, I'm just not going to go to school because I don't want to put any, financial hardships on my family. And some people, they want to grow up, they want to support their families after graduation, and they even want to start families of their own, but in a way, it's extremely difficult because they have to maybe, half of their salary is probably going to paying off student loans. And although financial aid and scholarships are available, some students cannot get financial aid because maybe their family make too much money, but then the family still can't go out and just pay for schooling out of pocket. So it still just makes it difficult for them to figure out exactly, oh, what am I going to do? Some students still can't even get scholarships. Some students don't think about scholarships and they don't know that scholarships are actually important, but it's kind of difficult getting certain scholarships when you need, oh, I need this GPA, or I need this experience, and it's just not easy.
And if I may interject, I think that's something else that's really important to consider. All kids deserve opportunities, and they deserve opportunities without qualifiers. So just this notion that we only want to extend opportunities to those who we deem worthy enough because of GPA or because of attendance rate, it's really thinking that I challenge everyone to push past, because a lot of times there are really factors that we don't understand that students have to grapple with that really impede their ability to attain like a certain GPA. I'll give a really quick example. I think about a student who explained to me that the reason that she couldn't make our 8 o'clock start time was because she had to drop off her younger sibling who started school at 8:15. And so she simply could never make it to first period on time because this was what she had to do. Consequently, her GPA did always kind of like hover a little bit below a 3.0 because she was never able to make it to first period. That doesn't mean that this young lady wasn't intelligent, did not have like grit, perseverance, like all of this other talent and these skills that are really important, but like because we oftentimes like associate opportunity with those who we determine are worthy, we're really kind of missing the mark. And so that's something, thank you for bringing that up, that's really important to highlight.
Absolutely.
And exceptional with respect to Horizon, because like you all don't say like, TyNeisha, find me a kid who meets these requirements. You're just like, hey, we have this opportunity. Do you have any students who are interested? And the answer is always yes.
Right. And I think too, I'm representing the healthcare field. I know there are lots of different industries represented here today, but I think, we all sort of now know and accept and acknowledge how important diversity of thought is in the ability to make decisions and to have an impact. We have a a homogenous society, right? And so creating solutions, and it requires that there's participation from all groups. And so for those of us who have the ability or sit from a position where you might have access to scholarships or a company that's interested in getting engaged, you know, investing and really understanding how we can diversify our pipeline is so important. So I would encourage everyone to seek out a school like Prospectus Math and Science
Or
Academy. Yeah, or Prospectus. I think they're on the market for additional supporters. But think about how you can structure scholarships, engage your employees, and really help drive this conversation forward around education equity. So thank you.
Thank you, Alex.